Today on BBQing, we are making Hawaiian brisket sliders. Gonna use those little Hawaiian rolls. We got this brisket point here. We're gonna throw in the yoder and smoke it. It's gonna be amazing. Let's get to it. So first off, the brisket. We got about a 4.5 pound piece of brisket point here. I've already trimmed it. Got the little flap opened up. Got all the fat out. Got the fat cap we're leaving a little bit on. And the way that we're gonna cook this is we're gonna do it in a foil pan. We're gonna throw it on the smoker in the pan. We're gonna let it smoke for a while, get a little bark on the top, and then we're gonna add some liquid in there and just kind of braise it, cover it with foil. It's gonna come out amazing. Good thing about this method as well is that we should be able to do this brisket in about 5.5 hours, hopefully, and enjoy it the same day. So here we go. For the rub, we've got a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. We're going 2 tablespoons of black pepper, 2 tablespoons garlic powder, 2 tablespoons coriander, a teaspoon of ginger, and some red pepper flakes. And I always just like to mix this up with my hand. I feel like you can get into there and really get everything nice and broken up and mixed in well. Oh, the smells that are coming off that. You get the ginger, the coriander. Smells amazing. So, the secret ingredient for this, since it's Hawaiian, I use this on my Kalua pig whenever I make it, is the red clay sea salt from Hawaii. It's pink because it's not like pink Himalayan. It's pink because it's actually the color of the clay that's there, that when they harvest the salt, it kind of comes out. So, Hawaiian salt, throwing that on. So basically we need our binder now. Yellow mustard, you won't taste it, it will cook off. This will just help everything stick to the meat. And we're not gonna really worry about the bottom on the fat cap like you normally would if you were smoking this, just because, like I said, it's gonna be in a pan with, you know, we're kind of almost braising it, so the bottom is just gonna have it rub off anyway. So we'll get this all rubbed in. So here's how I want to do this. I want to get the rub on, and then I'm just going to sprinkle it with that little salt, the clay salt. So we'll get this all rubbed in. You want to make sure you get all in these this little nook and cranny right here. Make sure that gets all seasoned. Pick up all the excess off the board. That ginger is just, that smell is amazing. All right, so now we got this. So now it's time for that little salt. And like I said, I'm just gonna kind of throw it over the top. Not using a whole lot of it. Don't want this thing super salty. All right, meat is done. Meat is ready. We're gonna throw this in this pan here. And it's time for the yoder. All right, here we go. We got hickory in the hopper. We've got it at 350. It's been warming up for the last 15-20 minutes, so it's at a nice even temperature. And this is just going straight in on the bottom, right in the middle. One thing I forgot to mention is that what we're gonna do is once we put that foil on, we're gonna throw some pineapple slices on there. We're gonna throw some sweet onions on the top and just let all that kind of just melt into the meat. These things are gonna come out incredible. We'll see you guys in a few. Here we go. We're about 2 hours into the cook, 2.5 hours. The bark's just about set on that brisket. It's looking good. So now it's gonna be time to do the, I wouldn't call it a mop. It's more of like a basting sauce that's gonna go in that pan. So let's get this thing put together. We've got a 1/2 cup of Hawaiian, what is this stuff? Hulu Hulu cooking sauce and marinade. So it's basically soy sauce that they've added, I don't know, it says ginger and sugar and other stuff. So it's basically like just a sweeter soy sauce. This stuff tastes amazing though. You can see it's Hulu Hulu Hawaiian stuff. So if you don't have this, just use soy sauce. Easy substitute. We got about a 1/4 cup of dark brown sugars going in. We've got 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, and then 2 tablespoons of black peppers going in. And then we have right here a 20-ounce can of pineapple. These are gonna be the rings. We're gonna lay this over the top of the brisket. That way it kind of just melts into it. But we're gonna take the juice first and add the juice of the pineapple into this sauce. And then last but not least, we have a little chunk of ginger here that we're just gonna take the back of our knife and kind of peel it. And then we're just gonna cut this into medallions here. And that's just going in. And we're not hoping to eat that. That's just gonna help infuse into that marinade. And then last but not least, with the pineapples draped over the meat, we're also gonna add some sweet onion. And then we're just gonna cut this into thin rings as well. So like I said, we're gonna throw these over the meat as well, help them just kind of cook and melt into the meat. But once these are done, we're gonna throw them as well as the pineapple onto the sliders just to add a little, you know, extra. So now that this is done, we'll throw these in the marinade as well, just because. That's done. Let's get it out to the grill. Okay, here we go. It's looking amazing. You can see a lot of the fat's already rendered off, so we got a ton of the fat off the bottom of that fat cap that's in there. Next, we're just gonna basically dump this in. After we put those onions, like I said, we're gonna take these and put them over the top. Dump this over the top of everything. And then we'll do the same thing with these pineapples. And then whatever ones we have left over, we'll just throw in this bottom here, just so that it gets more into the marinade. And then basically what we're gonna do from here on out is we're just gonna come in every 30 minutes or so and just baste the top of this thing. And make sure we just get all those awesome flavors cooked into it. All right, there you have it. You got the onions, the pineapple. The last step for now, just so that we can get this cooked in time, is we're gonna now cover this in foil and let it baste with all that liquid. And so we get this covered up. So now that we got this thing in foil, we'll throw our temperature probe in. And be done with that. Like I said, we're gonna come out every half hour or so and just kind of baste it, just to, you know, get all the flavors over the top of that. This thing should be done when it hits about 200, and we'll see you guys then. While that's doing its thing on the smoker, we're gonna add that last little ingredient here. We're gonna make a little slaw, a little Hawaiian style slaw that's gonna go on that, as well as the onions and the pineapple there. So for this, we've got 3 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. We've got 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, a tablespoon of salt, pink Himalayan, and then another tablespoon of that Hulu Hulu Hawaiian seasoning that we used in the marinade. That's all going in. So we'll whisk this together. So now for the slaw, we're just gonna make it super easy. We got a half head of purple cabbage here, and we're just gonna shave this super thin. Give it one cut in the middle just to make it a little bit more manageable, and that goes in. Next, we're gonna just grate 1 carrot here, straight into the bowl. And then we're gonna use half a head of Napa cabbage. Now, I like Napa cabbage just a little bit better because it's not quite as, I don't know, what's that feeling you get when you bite into like raw cabbage? It gets like, super, it's like nails on chalkboards, right? So we're gonna use Napa cabbage here. We'll just slit this down the middle and then do the same thing. Just trim this really thin. All right, and all that goes in. So it's just that simple. We're just gonna add this dressing over the top here. And then just make sure that you mix it in really well. And look how beautiful that looks. You get that nice contrasting colors there. You got the purple, the orange from the carrots, the green. Now, pro tip here, you're gonna wanna do this at least an hour, preferably 2 or 3 hours before you're ready to do it. The dressing just helps break down that cabbage to where it's not quite as, like I said, nails on chalkboard when you're biting it. Just kind of makes it a little mellower and easier to eat. So this is going in the fridge. Got about another hour or two on the meat there. So we'll see you guys when that thing's done. All right, we're at about 190 degrees, almost done. Check this thing out. It's looking incredible. We're just gonna be basting this still. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna leave this uncovered now. We're at about 190 degrees. We're about 10 degrees off where we wanna pull it. We're at about 4.5 hours into the cook right now, and we're just gonna let that heat kind of caramelize the rest of those onions and pineapples on top, finish this off. I'm excited. So while we're waiting for this to finish up, might as well have that beer. Today we are doing Stone's Self-Righteous. Now, what this is a black IPA. And when I started homebrewing about 10, 11 years ago, black IPAs were like the big thing that was up and coming. IPAs had just kind of hit their peak. Everybody was trying to make a different style. And this one, I remember when it came out, was absolutely incredible. Black IPA was actually one of the third beer that I brewed ever. And Stone decided to bring it back on a special release. So it's an 8.7% IPA. As with Stone, it's one of the iconic San Diego, breweries, one of the biggest in the country. Can't go wrong with it. So let's give this thing a try. All right, here you go. As you can see, this thing is pitch black, right? It's got that nice, like, kind of creamy, dark, heady foam. I'm assuming they use lots of, like, dark roasted malts in this, maybe some chocolate malt, maybe some I don't know, maybe it's a special beets. If you hold it up to the light, there's actually a tinge of red to it, but the flavor that comes through on this, it's not heavy like a stout. I mean, I lied. Okay, I lied. It's heavy. Yeah, at 8.7%, it's heavy, but it's light somehow at the same time. You get the floral characters from the hops. This beer is an incredible beer. So I'm super glad they brought this back, even if it's for a limited release. If you can find it, the Self-Righteous by Stone. Comes in a 22. As with Stone, always got the gargoyle on. We'll be finishing this up while we're finishing the meat here. So cheers. Okay, here we are. We hit 200 degrees. We're gonna pull this off, let it rest for about an hour. It looks incredible. You got a nice little browning on the pineapple there, the onions underneath. I can't wait to dig into this thing. Yeah, so we'll put some foil over the top of this. We'll get it pulled off and we'll let it sit for about, like I said, about an hour. Okay, here we go. This thing looks amazing. We got these pineapples on top, the onion, everything looks incredible. We're cutting across the grain as always with whatever meat you're cooking. And I'm gonna tell you this, you got a little bit of a smoke ring in here. Getting all that flavor from the onion. All right, I know you think you need to cook brisket low and slow. This right here is telling you you don't. This is so juicy. It is not dry at all. The flavors that are coming through on this are absolutely incredible. You can see there's a little bit of a smoke ring. Obviously, it's not like a giant smoke ring because we didn't do it that way, but you can see the smoke ring right in here a little bit. The smells that are coming off this are incredible. So let's get this put together, all right? Okay, so here we go. This is the final prep. We got our King's Hawaiian rolls, like I said here, because this is obviously Hawaiian brisket. We're just gonna cut the tops off of everything here. And we're gonna do it all in one piece. Well, kind of one piece. So we got our rolls here. We're gonna just stuff this with this brisket. This is gonna go all over the top. And I really can't express to you how juicy this meat is. I mean, it just pulls apart. There's just so much flavor in that from that braising sauce that we made with the pineapples and everything. Oh man. All right, so we're just gonna dig through this pile of meat here and grab some of the pineapples that are in here. Grab some of the onions that are in there as well. Now that we got these loaded up, It's time for that coleslaw that we made. We're just gonna dump this over the top. It's got all that sesame oil, all that yummy stuff in there. This is getting dumped over the top of everything. And then we're just gonna throw the buns back on top as best we can. And then we'll just take our knife and cut through where these buns are separated. And there you have it, Hawaiian brisket sliders. I can't wait to dig into this thing. Let me give this a try. That flavor is incredible. Now, anybody that says you can't cook brisket in 5 hours, I don't know what to tell you. They're wrong. I mean, this is a giant slab of brisket and it just completely comes apart. And it is so juicy. Let me show you here. I mean, it is so juicy here. It just literally falls apart. The flavor off of this brisket. I mean, it's not your traditional smoked brisket, but the flavors are incredible. So I'm calling this an incredible success. Guys, try this, please. It's amazing. We're barbecuing. Any thumbs up, please subscribe. Comments, we appreciate them all. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers.